Hey everyone! Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the internet. We're going to uncover the secret language that builds every single website you love and use every day, from scrolling on Netflix to shopping on Amazon. Let's dive right in. So, you ever been on a website and just wondered, how does this actually work? Like, what is going on behind the screen? It can feel like this big, complicated mystery. But today, we're going to spell the secret. And here it is, the big reveal. On the left, you see all this. Well, it looks like weird code, right? And on the right, you see a normal web page. That code on the left, that's the secret ingredient. It's called HTML, and it's the actual blueprint, the skeleton for everything you see online.
But how does a bunch of text like that magically transform into a website that you can actually click on and use? Well, that's exactly what we're breaking down next.
Yeah, this is the big question, isn't it? You start with just a plain old text file filled with all these little bracket things, and somehow it turns into this polished, professional-looking page. It really does feel like magic, but it's actually a super clever process. Just think of your web browser, Chrome, Safari, whatever you use, as this incredible machine. You feed it a simple text file with that HTML code, and boom, the machine instantly reads all the instructions and builds the website right there on your screen. Code goes in, website comes out. It's really that fast. Okay, so to get that machine to actually work, you need to speak its language. And the language of HTML is really all about one single core idea, something called tags. So what in the world is a tag? Well, it's just a special command for the browser that you wrap in these little angle brackets. You use them to say things like, hey browser, this text right here, make it a big headline, or turn this block of text into a paragraph. They are literally the fundamental building blocks of every single web page. And every one of these elements follows a super simple three-part pattern. You've got an opening tag to start the command. Then you have your actual content, like your text or image, in the middle, and then a closing tag to end it. See that little / in the closing tag? That's the super important part that tells the browser, okay, we're done with this command. And honestly, that's the whole secret sauce. If you can just remember this one simple pattern, open tag, content, close tag, you've basically understood the heart and soul of HTML. All right, so you've got the basic building blocks down. But what if you want to give those blocks some special abilities? Make them do cool stuff. Well, that's where attributes come into play. That's exactly it. If tags are the building blocks, then attributes are the superpowers you give to them. They're just little extra pieces of info that let a simple tag do something way more powerful and way more specific. Just look at these examples here. A plain image tag is kind of useless until you give it a source attribute to tell it what image to show. Same for a link. A link tag does nothing until you add that href attribute to tell it where to go when you click it. These are the things that make a web page actually interactive. And here it is. This is that aha moment where it all clicks. On the left, you've got the code. You can see the p tag for a paragraph and the a tag for a link with its href attribute. And on the right, that's the direct result. See? With just a few simple lines, your idea becomes a real working web page. Now, HTML is incredibly important, a total rock star, but it doesn't work alone. To build the modern websites we use today, it needs a team. So let's meet the web's superhero trio. I absolutely love thinking about it this way. Building a website is kind of like putting together a team of superheroes. Each one has a totally unique and vital power, and they all have to work together to get the job done right. So let's break down who does what. First up, you have HTML, the builder. It creates the raw structure, kind of like the walls and the foundation of a house. Next is CSS, the designer. It adds all the style, the paint colors, the furniture, making it look good. And finally, you have JavaScript, the magician. It makes things happen, like making a button clickable or an animation play. But here's the one thing you really have to remember. HTML is always the first step. It's the skeleton that everything else gets built on top of. And there's a good reason for that. By keeping the structure separate from the style and the magic, websites are just way easier to build and update. HTML is that non-negotiable foundation. All right, let's do a super quick recap. We learned that HTML is the secret code behind basically every website. It uses tags, like H1 for headlines and P for paragraphs, to give content its structure. Then we give those tags superpowers with attributes. And finally, we saw that HTML is a team player.
It works with CSS for style and JavaScript for interactivity to build the whole shebang. But really, the most important thing to take away from all this is simple. Now that you understand these basics, you have the power to create. It might seem like a small thing, but with just a little bit of HTML, you can literally build anything you can imagine on the web. And that's really the magic of HTML. You now have that foundational knowledge to start building cool things. So if you're excited to learn what's next, make sure you subscribe for more lessons. Thanks so much for watching.